Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
And we serve as the voice to the global Black community.
Again, we got Dr. Candace Matthews.
A lot of these documents, looking at.
We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media.
This country is supposed to be about the land of the free for all. It has not been free for Black people, and we are tired.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community.
My name is Naledi Mfoloe, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the latest edition of the African Diaspora News Channel, where we unravel the stories that shape our world and our communities. Burkina Faso, a country that is showing the rest of Africa how to take control of its own resources and actually assert its power in the face of foreign exploitations. Now, on October 5th, 2024, President Ibrahim Traore made a bold and powerful statement in a radio address that is sure to send ripples through the continent. Now, he announced that going forward, Burkina Faso will be revoking mining licenses held by foreign companies and will actually focus on mining its own gold, taking charge of its own natural resources in a way that we've actually never seen in many African countries for decades. Now, this is significant. I mean, we know that Africa has been rich in resources, from gold to diamonds to oil to uranium, but for far too long, right, these resources have been exploited by foreign powers and leaving many African nations with little to show for it. Whether it's Western companies profiting from African minerals wealth while the local communities suffer, or foreign governments taking control of African land for their own benefit, this is the reality we all are too familiar with. But Burkina Faso, led by President Traore, is actually changing the game. I mean, since the revolution that brought him into power, we've actually seen many significant steps towards nationalizing the country's gold mines. The government is seriously, honestly, even taking charge of its resources, and the country is now looking at a future where it doesn't just extract raw gold and ship it overseas, but where it actually can process and refine that gold locally. Burkina Faso is laying the foundations for its first gold refinery, which is set to actually launch by the end of this year. And apparently this refinery will have the capacity to produce 150 tons of gold annually, which is a monumental step forward in resource power. And not only that, right, the country has also opened a mining waste treatment facility, which is something we don't often see in many African nations. I mean, sustainable mining practices are clearly on the table for Burkina Faso. And now let's talk about regional impact, right? Burkina Faso is part of an anti-imperialistic bloc known as the Alliance Sahel States. And this alliance is made up of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. And these three countries have long been fighting to take back control of their resources from foreign interests. And it's clear that they're not just talking the talk, but they actually walking the walk. And for us here in South Africa, I think that it's a call for action, man. Like, this is Africa rising. The message is clear. We as Africans have the power to take control of our own resources and use them for our own benefits and not just for foreign interests. But I mean, imagine what could happen if we in South Africa, with our vast mineral resources, decided to refine and manufacture locally. And instead of sending our minerals out to be processed elsewhere. I mean, why is that South Africa, a leading producer of gold, platinum, and diamonds, is still exporting these valuable commodities to be processed overseas, while our people struggle with things like unemployment, poverty, and equality? It's a question I think that we really need to ask ourselves. Burkina Faso, right under the President Traore, is showing us the way forward. They're putting Africa's needs first, and they're not afraid to nationalize industries and put local people to work. They're putting in the place, the infrastructure needed to refine their own resources and keep the wealth within their own borders. And that, if you ask me, is something that we should all take notice of. Now, I'm not saying the path is easy, right? Of course, there will be challenges ahead, political, economic, and even security challenges. But Burkina Faso is proving that Africa has the potential to chart its own path, to actually take ownership of its future, and to no longer be at the mercy of foreign corporations and powers. And as South Africans, I think that we should be inspired by what's happening in other neighboring countries. I think the time for Pan-African unity, the time for economic independence, and the time for asserting control over our resources is now. I personally believe that it's time for Africa to stand tall. I think that we have the land, we have the resources, and now it's time for us to ensure that our children actually benefit from the wealth that is rightfully ours. Now, that's just my opinion on it. What's yours? Let's continue to engage and keep the conversation going in the comments section. And while you're at it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. That's it from me. Till we meet again, it is goodbye for now.
Download the African Diaspora News app today.